I want to bring in Brett Anderson right now, editor-in-chief at the Robb Report. Brett, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Congratulations on the anniversary.
We're excited about it. As you mentioned, it's our 40th anniversary, and it's great to be here to celebrate it, the 50th anniversary of the Lamborghini Miura at the same time.
Yes.
So thank you for having us.
So, well, okay, tell me about these Hot Wheels right now. Why does this go for $2.5 million?
Well, there were very few made, as you said. There were 763 produced over the lifetime of the model. But this is the P400. There are only 275 of these. So they're quite rare. They're very much, in demand among collectors because the Miura was kind of the first statement car of Lamborghini. There were other models, but this one wowed the world when it was unveiled.
I can't imagine they have this color in a lot. You make this color. I mean, this is like a really hot color.
This color was originally called Verde Miura. It's now called, because they still make it, and actually the owner of this car ordered an Aventador in the same color. It's called Miura Scandal now.
Okay. So finish your thought. I'm sorry, I interrupted you there.
No. So this car is the P400. There was the P400S and the P400SV. So those were the three models. Each of them had slightly different configurations and horsepower. This has 350 horsepower, which in 1968 was pretty phenomenal. And the sound of the car, just the energy and the brutish power of it, was so appealing to people at the time.
So is there anything in here that's really, that we need to be checking out? Should we get in the car?
These days, I mean, the car was more about mechanics than electronics, which is part of the charm, and that's part of the appeal of the Miura. This is an era where it was all about the engine, it was all about mechanics, it was all about driving, and you feel everything on the road in this car. And it's about speed and power. So
you want to feel everything on the road?
Because I mean,
there's arguments you made that you don't want to feel every bump on the road, right?
But this is an Italian muscle car.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, that's what it was designed to be. In contrast to, Ferrari, that other mark, where it was a little bit more about kind of performance and finesse. This was unabashedly about power and excitement. So,
I mean, when you have a car like this that's so expensive, I mean, where do you store it? You're not going to park this baby on the street, are you?
Not typically, no. I mean, most collectors have garages where they keep their collection and kind of curate it like a private museum. And this owner has a number of different Lamborghinis, so he's quite an enthusiast of the marque. And many collectors will collect, different examples or different models of a single marque. So this is really a collector's item? This is very much a collector's item. This is quite a rare car. As you mentioned, they could go for as much as $2.5 million. Yeah, which is why you would pay up. So it had a relatively short production life, not too many produced. What happened? What happened was the guy who designed this at Bertone, which was the coach builder, Marcello Gandini, he designed the Countach, which became probably the best known model of the Lamborghini, and so everybody wanted the Countach, and the Miura was sort of set aside. But what makes it so valuable is that it was a very early car, very exciting car, and a revolutionary design, and there were so few made of them that they've now become the most collectible. Wow. Is there anything specific to this car that a collector or a car enthusiast would want this specific to collect? The purists really prefer the first and the early versions, which were the P400s. The later, which was the P400S, was slightly more powerful, as was the SV. The SV had different configurations for the headlights and a little bit more detail inside, but for the purist, this is the car to own. This is the one that the true collector wants. You don't really get sports cars in this sort of category that are automatic. No, typically you want to have that experience of shifting, and it's about feeling the engine and not having electronics do that shifting for you. So it takes skill. I mean, it takes some skill and practice, so I think that's another reason that this era of cars has so much appeal for collectors, is it gives you that vintage driving experience, kind of what a lot of collectors knew when they were growing up and learning to drive. What kind of value does this get me in terms of, like, if I add this to my collection, what kind of value does that increase? In terms of over time, the value of these cars will absolutely increase because there are only 760 of them, as you mentioned, and those are the only ones that will ever exist. Wow, that is fabulous. They are quite rare. And the inside, anything that we need to see in the inside here? Well, you can see it's just very simple. It's sort of like a very simple design, like a race car. I mean, there are no frills. It's all about the driving experience. It looks beautiful and old. The steering wheel's supposed to be that way. I mean, look. This is it's all about the driving experience, the muscle shifting. feeling the power of the car. And so, you know, it's been pared down. These cars were relatively lightweight. The new Lamborghinis are heavier.
Great. Brett, good to see you. Congratulations on the anniversary.
Thanks for
bringing in this baby today. Brett Anderson, we'll be right back.